it all. Come on now. Where is it?
Shana Tova. If that's not a way to start this High Holy Day season, I don't know what is. I am so glad that all of you are here to welcome in this new year. Our prayer book reads, "Said the Holy One to Israel, I asked you to pray in the synagogue of your city, but if you cannot pray in the synagogue, pray outdoors in an open field. And if you cannot pray in the field, pray in the shelter of your home. And if you cannot pray in your home, pray in the dark of your bed. And if you cannot pray on your bed, meditate in your heart without words." This is not what we normally envision when we think of High Holy Days. We, scattered in homes throughout the region and beyond, seeing one another in small squares on computer screens. But here we are, communally welcoming in a new year. Instead of jumping in our cars, we have prepared our tables in celebration of this new beginning. Instead of heading to a sanctuary, we have sanctified our homes with beauty and blessing. And tonight we greet one another not with hugs, but with smiles and notes of greeting with utter delight. Tonight's service might be different than what we're used to. It is shorter, focusing on some of the most important seasonal inspiring liturgy within. We pray that the words we speak, the music that we sing, and the passages we read will inspire us, move us, and fill us with excitement about all that is possible in the year ahead. Many of you received High Holy Day gift bags with items to bring us ever closer during our High Holy Day experience. Within, you'll find candles. I invite everyone to get their candles at this time and to prepare to bring a little bit more light into this world. There is a story about a small town that was building an extraordinary synagogue. They used only the most beautiful materials. The architect was world-renowned. There was no doubt that this building would be a masterpiece. And on the day that it opened, the people walked inside, oohing and ahhing about its thoughtful choices and symbolism. But when they got to the sanctuary, there was something peculiar. Aside from the Ner Tamid above the ark, there was not a single light in the room. How will we see our prayer books? One asked. How will we see the Rabbi and Cantor? Asked another. It's very simple, answered the Rabbi. We will give each of you a lamp, and our sanctuary's walls are lined with hooks for you to place your lamps. When you are not here, the room will be dark, but when you are here, you will add some light to the room, and we will come together as a community. The room will be radiant. Tonight, we may not be in our masterpiece sanctuary, but whether we are outdoors in an open field, in the shelter of our home, or in the dark of our bed, we are called upon to bring some of our light. So please put your cameras on so that we can witness the light in one another's sacred spaces. Our community is truly brighter because you are present. And I'm grateful to Davidson, Estelle Lieb, and Contessa Jody Davidson for leading us in this blessing.
The first mitzvah in the Torah is let there be light. So we are commanded, in everything you do, be a menorah, be a bringer of light. Live with honor, act with integrity, do your work with passion, and the radiance of your deeds will live after you. May our deeds burn bright, forever unextinguished, and may we live our lives like the flames we kindle, always stretching upward, striving for the good, reaching for you. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, tav b'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat v'yom tov.
Source of blessing, eternal our God, you fill the universe with majestic might, teaching us holiness through sacred obligations, giving us the mitzvah of bringing light on Shabbat and this festival.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Your book of life doesn't begin today on Rosh Hashanah. It began when you were born. Some of the chapters were written by other people, your parents, siblings, and teachers. Part of your book were crafted out of experiences you had because of other people's decisions, where you lived, what schools you went to, what your homes were like. But the message of Rosh Hashanah, the anniversary of the creation of the world, is that everything can be made new again. Then much of your book is written each day by the choices that you make. This book is not written and sealed. You get to edit it, decide what parts you want to emphasize and remember, and maybe even which parts you want to leave behind. Shana Tova means both a good year and a good change. Today you can change the rest of your life. It is never too late. Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Yehi Ratzon shenizcha livchotecha b'shnat chameshet alafim sheva ma'ot shmonim ve'achat. Elohei olam barech olanu v'et kol beit Yisrael b'chudush yamanu v'simcha u'b'shalom v'nechama u'v'metzlev v'chilutz atzmot u'v'ruach etera. Our God and God of our ancestors, may we know your blessings in the year 5781. Eternal One, bless us and the whole house of Israel with renewed life, happiness and peace, comfort, courage, resilience, and strength. Let all Israel keep Shabbat and celebrate Shabbat for generations. Throughout this pandemic, there have been moments when I've lost track of time, when one day fades into another and I wonder, where am I? But then Shabbat comes, Shabbat with soulful music and prayers of gratitude, and I find my compass, my way, my time for reflection and renewal. Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are important holidays, but there is one more important still, and that is Shabbat. The weekly ritual of challah baking, or candle lighting, or communal praying, or Shabbat strolls, meditation, and joy. Today we are blessed with a dual holiday. Rosh Hashanah has fallen on Shabbat, and we are here today as beneficiaries of both. So we raise our voice in song and sing V'Shamru. Let all Israel keep Shabbat, and Shabbat can be celebrated for all generations as everlasting covenant, a sign forever, a bond between God and people Israel.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם, ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת, ויהי נפש,
You can't rush a prayer to God if it comes from the heart. It will rush out on its own, speed through receding galaxies or silences in the soul, and God will hear. Honesty with all, but speaking to God is different. Mind the soul, for your coal and gems in regular earth, no pretense, and God will hear. Don't force the prayer or string words together. Pause, perhaps. Better not to pray. Silence will be a message of awe, and God will hear. Now step off into the very deep, beyond the way of prayer. We glimpse unknown magnitudes of God no more, or we would be stunned into silence, except that love makes itself small. We could not pray at all.
Adonai sfatai tiftach, Adonai sfatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai sfatai tiftach, Adonai sfatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. זוכרנו לחיים, מלך חפץ בחיים, וכותבנו בספר החיים, למענך אלוהים חיים. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני Magen Avraham Vezrat Sarah.
We haven't forgotten Avinu Malkeinu. Though we've overthrown kings and we disobey fathers, and we have no great liking for absolute power. Akiva stood before you in a time of drought, and his words went up like a flame on the altar. Avinu Malkeinu, you alone are our ruler. Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion for us. He was humble and forgiving, so his prayer was answered. Tonight, we speak again in a time of drought. Dry ground beneath us, no water, only rock. not a hunger for bread or a thirst for water, but hearts that are longing to hear God's voice. For the sea of faith is all but gone, the tide's gone out on the empty beach. The world mocks our hopes and life tests our courage. Why do the wicked live on and prosper? Why are you silent when they prey on the innocent? And if your dominion is kindness and justice, why is creation in so much pain? Havinu Malkeinu, sustain our souls. Send rain to our roots. Help us find a way to pray. Make us humble and forgiving of ourselves and one another. Avinu Malkeinu, renew these words. Help us speak them with conviction and believe their truth. 100 generations have stood before the ark, and they have lifted up their voices like flame on the altar, and they have put their trust in kindness and justice, and they gave their strength to make the promise real. Avinu Malkeinu, we haven't forgotten. Avinu Malkeinu, bring us back to you. Avinu Malkeinu, in lanu melech el ata. Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, you alone are our sovereign. Avinu Malkeinu, lemancha rachem aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, for your sake, show us mercy. Avinu Malkeinu, aseh imanu leman shemecha. Avinu Malkeinu, act toward us as befits your name. Avinu Malkeinu, shalach refuah shlema lecholei amecha. Avinu Malkeinu, bring healing and wholeness to the ill among us. Avinu Malkeinu, kara roa gizar dinenu. Avinu Malkeinu, allay the harshness of the decree against us. Avinu Malkeinu, kotvenu b'sefer ge'la v'shua. Avinu Malkeinu, inscribe us in the book of redemption and renewal. Avinu Malkeinu, zochrenu b'zichron tov lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, remember our goodness and call it to mind. Avinu Malkeinu, aseh leman v'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, act for your sake and save us. Avinu Malkeinu, chonenu v'anenu ki ein banu masim. Aseh manu tzedakah v'chesed v'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, answer us with grace, for our deeds are wanting. Save us through acts of justice and love.
Avinu Malkeinu, chonenu v'anenu. Avinu Malkeinu, chonenu v'anenu, ki ein banu masim. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, v'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, chonenu v'anenu. Avinu Malkeinu, chonenu v'anenu, ki ein banu masim.
It's been 6 months since the first stay-at-home orders were issued in Los Angeles County. Many of us forget what friends and family look like without Zoom boxes around their heads or face masks covering their noses and mouths. We work on Zoom, we learn on Zoom, we pray on Zoom, we gather socially on Zoom. We celebrate birthdays and anniversaries with car parades and video montages. Social in-person gatherings are few and far between, if they exist at all. Some of us are lucky to live close to the people we love, and even in these circumstances, COVID-19 distances us in ways we have never before experienced. All in-person gatherings, from our doctor's appointments to the work we conduct to visits with dear friends, are limited by our desire to stay healthy and to ensure that those around us stay safe as well. These restrictions can make us feel lonely. On Rosh Hashanah, it is traditional to read the story of creation. God said, "Let there be light," and the light that formed was good. God produced water and sky, and that too was good. After each creation, from the plants and trees to the animals of land, sea, and sky, God says that they were good. God calls the creation of human beings very good. But after God's handiwork is complete, God remarks that there is one thing that is not good at all. It is not good for man to be alone. One rabbinic tale teaches that when God created the world, God paraded every pair of animals in front of Adam for him to name. 2 long-necked animals walked in front of Adam, and he called them giraffes. When 2 black and white striped animals walked before Adam, they called him zebras. After Adam named all of the species, he asked God, "What about me? Everyone has a partner, but I do not." Adam's question expressed a feeling of loneliness that many of us know all too well. So did our ancestors. Abraham, Sarah, Hagar, Isaac, Jacob, Leah, Joseph, and Moses all express a deep existential loneliness at some point in their lives, and most of them didn't live through a pandemic. As it turns out, loneliness was an epidemic before the coronavirus. According to a study through Cigna, nearly 2/3 of Americans struggled with loneliness in 2019, a 13% increase from 2018. Political scientist Robert Putnam explains that loneliness has increased for a reason. Since the 1960s, we have moved from the we society of we're all in this together to the I society of I'm free to be myself. This is reflected in the lyrics of the music we hear and the words of the books we read. We have become a society focused more on the individual than the communal. One of the losses of communal attachment is that of social isolation. There is a story about a man who wrote to the Rabbi from a place of pain and hardship. He said, "I am depressed. I'm lonely. I feel that life is meaningless. I try to pray, but the words do not come. I keep mitzvot, but I find no peace of mind. I need the Rebbe's help." He, like Adam, expressed a profound loneliness and a longing for deeper connection. That is, after all, what loneliness is, an expression of spiritual and emotional isolation, a yearning to be seen, heard, and embraced, and a longing to feel the deepness of sacred relationship. The Rebbe sent a brilliant reply without using a single word. He simply circled the first word of every sentence and sent the letter back. The word in each case was I. There is a reason that God said it is not good for man to be alone. God knew that human beings are innately social. Although it is healthy and natural to spend some time alone, we also need opportunities for sacred connection. We are happiest, healthiest, and most fulfilled when we turn our eyes into we's. When our temple building temporarily closed, we recognized how isolating the pandemic could be. On the phone, many of you opened up about how terrifying it was to live alone in the midst of a pandemic, how surreal it was to conduct business, social gatherings, and interactions through technology alone. American society might be focused on the individual, but Judaism has always circled around community. We study Torah together, we pray together, we come together at times of joy and sorrow for holidays and sacred occasions. So when the pandemic hit, it was not surprising that our community came together. In a matter of days, we transformed our Torah school into a virtual school. We struggled with technology so that we could worship and learn together. We created Zoomathons, scavenger hunts, game nights, coffee talks, and meditation. And we showed up in huge numbers because we needed one another more than ever. The temple created phone chains and connected community members who needed help with those in a position to offer it. Your response was inspiring everyone wanted to help. Loneliness is not new, but because of the pandemic, we have been addressing it more. This has been a key to our survival for millennia. Every year, we recall the story of our Egyptian bondage and the exodus that followed. We are taught that slavery was painfully lonely on a personal and a communal level. Pharaoh made a concerted effort to separate spouses from one another. Even if they had the desire to connect, Pharaoh worked them so hard that they wouldn't have the energy to do so. Pharaoh hoped that this separation would prevent a new generation from being born. But the Israelites did not allow Pharaoh to succeed. A midrash teaches that women risked everything to be with their partners. They brought mirrors to them to show them how handsome they were and to arouse them to be intimate. As Rabbi Michael Latz explains, from that intimacy was born the next generation of Israelites. Our people survived. Humans are social creatures. People need a community, a tribe, like a bee needs a hive. Community, relationships, intimacy were the ultimate resistance to Pharaoh's tyranny. When we are faced with trials and difficulties, our sacred connections are our vaccine. A deep moment of connection can lift us, drive us, and inspire us. They are, as Rabbi Latz explains, a balm against loneliness. Judaism is the counter-narrative to the myths that perpetuate loneliness through consumerism and individualism. How so? Because we are part of a story of meaning that is bigger than ourselves. A few weeks ago, I received a call from a member of our community. She said, there's a man who lives on my block. I've said hi in the past. I look out for him to make sure he's okay. But because I volunteered to help out at the temple, I came to learn that he's a member. Now that I know, I can have deeper conversations with him than before. I'm so grateful for that opportunity. Our temple programs over the past 6 months have brought people together. Our phone trees have sparked new friendships. Random breakout rooms after services fostered new connections. Programs such as Elul Reflections have enabled congregants to share their stories and get to know people they had never before had a chance to meet. For the first time, congregants who live far away, who are unable to leave their homes because of their schedule, their health, or their mobility, can still fully participate in temple life. In fact, due to new partnerships we form with our High Holy Days, due to our new partnerships that we have formed, our High Holy Day services are easily accessible to people in neighborhood hospitals and nursing homes for the very first time. Some people have expressed that they feel closer to temple community than they ever have before. The temple is my home every day, one said. I never celebrated Havdalah every week, said another. Now I can't imagine missing it. The irony of this pandemic that has pulled us apart is that, like the Israelites, we have responded by coming together. Loneliness has been an epidemic for decades, and yet it took a pandemic for us to take it seriously. In March, the House of Representatives passed a Supporting Older Americans Act of 2020, which included provisions to address social isolation. Nonprofits of all kinds have begun promoting and providing remote resources. We are talking about our loneliness and isolation in ways we have not always been comfortable doing, and it is making a difference. American psychologists conducted a loneliness study on adults ages 18 to 98. It began back in January before we felt the true effects of the pandemic, and it continued for several months. The study showed that respondents felt more social and emotional support in April and May than they had back in January. A similar study came to the same conclusion. Loneliness remains an epidemic, but there is promise. As reporter Calsi Killam explains, if these trends continue, the social recession we have feared could turn out to be a social revolution. Ironically, the pandemic may catalyze a cultural shift in which neighborhoods and communities band together to enhance our social well-being. In short, it's possible that a symptom of the coronavirus pandemic could become a cure for the loneliness epidemic. For all of its death and destruction, this moment of time has gifted us with an incredible opportunity to focus on that which is most important in our lives, the relationships we build. Now is the time that we affirm your presence matters. It makes a difference that you overcame the challenges of technology to be here today. It makes a difference when you volunteer or when you ask for help. It makes a difference when you join Torah School or Cantor's Corner, Torah Study, or Social Hour. At this moment in Jewish history, I invite you to follow in the footsteps of our Israelite ancestors and strive to forge new connections. They are the life force to our people. They are what have sustained us for all these years. Today is a day to commit to community. Not a member? We'd love to have you. Need help with groceries? Let us help you as you have helped so many people before. Willing to help? Let us know so that we can connect you to a new friend. On our website, you'll find a list and description of all of our temple groups and committees. We'd love for you to join one. There are phenomenal Sisterhood and Mensch Club events starting in just a couple of weeks with social virtual Sukkah nights in early October, where you can see old friends and make new ones. We recently started a new initiative called Community Connections. Thanks to the work of the Open Tent Project, we figured out which neighborhoods congregants live in and created small pods for neighbors to get to know one another. Throughout the year, there'll be opportunities to get to know people in your pod, in your neighborhood. I hope you'll join in. Let us all turn our eyes into we's. God was right. It is not good for man to be alone. Fortunately, we are not alone. We have one another.
May this be a year of love and kindness. May strangers come to be friends. May truth and compassion always guide us. Amen. May this be a year of hope and healing for all of those in need. May all of our deeds be a blessing. Amen. A new year, a good year, a chance to start all over. A new year, a sweet year, a chance to bring us closer. May this be a year of selfless giving. May this be a year of peace. And may we forgive and be forgiven. A good year, a chance to start all over. A new year, a sweet year, a chance to bring us closer. A new year, yes, a good year, a chance to start all over. A new year and a sweet year, a chance to bring us closer to the ones we love, a world that we can be proud of, long as there are stars above. There comes a new year. Amen.
At the temple, our community is blessed with two phenomenal Menschlichkeit, dedicated and talented leaders, our temple presidents, Linda Rubin and Marla Schwartz. Tonight, they offer this message to you.
Shalom to you, our dear temple family.
Shana Tova.
It is with full hearts that we share with you our gratitude for our worship times together this new year of 5781. We have been inspired by your support and your commitment to our beloved temple community during these extraordinary times.
We are grateful. When life all around us has felt like a painful punch to the gut, you have continued without hesitation to share your love for one another and for this community through generosity of spirit and contribution.
We thank you. We are determined to abide by your wishes that we do all that we can to succeed in keeping our hearts open even though our temple doors may be closed. We welcome one another and we welcome the stranger as always.
We are grateful. We have learned that sacred space goes beyond the walls of our sanctuary. We have learned to create sacred moments in our personal spaces with the same kavanah and aspirations for spending time together in a new manner, even though it may be framed virtually.
We thank you. Our tradition teaches us the imperative to live, to do, to love, and to learn from Torah, and we are blessed to have our clergy lead us along this important journey.
We are grateful. Now is a good time to express this community's gratitude for all that Rabbi Cassi and Cantor Ilan and our amazing staff and the numerous volunteers have done to make these days of awe so very meaningful for every one of us. It is their commitment to us that inspires all of our renewal to take place.
We thank you. Alongside of you, we look forward to encouraging and supporting our community and even our world with tzedakah, mitzvot, and acts of loving kindness.
We are grateful. Lashana Tova Tikitevu. May you be inscribed in the book of life for a good year.
All last requests are granted, and this is mine. Grasp my affection in your hands and hold it there. Gather my affection into your heart and store it there. Draw my affection in simple lines in your mind and foster it, further it, funnel it all into the coastal plains and lowlands where daily life and memory flow together. Let the river of affection rise and overflow. Let the grasses in the meadow near the river bend and the current where my love has flooded your land. As we prepare to say words of memory, the mourner's Kaddish, I invite you to put into the chat the names of anyone you are remembering. People who have died very recently, people who have died at this time in years past, or people who are on our minds on this Shabbat and this Rosh Hashanah day. I invite you to write their names so that we can all see them. And although I'm not going to say them aloud, I want us to look at them. I want us to be there for one another in uplifting the grief that we feel. And I want to invite everyone to join with me in saying the words of the mourner's Kaddish this evening. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, be'amad zivrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon v'yomachon, uv'chayei dekol beit Yisrael, ba'gala uv'izman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabba u'mevarach le'olam olamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudisha b'richu. Le'ila u'le'ila mikol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechamata, damiram ve'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, chayim alinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu yaseh shalom, alenu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru. Amen.
Shalom b'romav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'romav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen.
Tonight, we received beautiful words of blessing from our temple presidents, and now we also have words of blessing that come from the mayor of Los Angeles, Eric Garcetti.
Right now, Jewish communities around our city and across the globe are marking a Rosh Hashanah we won't soon forget. This Rosh Hashanah feels different. 5781 is kicking off in a way none of us wanted nor expected. We're not coming together in our synagogues or gathering for festive meals or leaning over friends and cousins to get our hands on the last slice of honey cake. We're without the normal sounds, away from the people who make this time of year so special. Instead, many of us are praying through a screen, reflecting from a distance, and celebrating in very unfamiliar ways. Yet at the same time, there has never been a more appropriate moment to usher in the high holidays. We call this time Yamim Noraim, or the days of awe, a season when we're called to take part in that sacred exercise passed down from generation to generation, to take stock of where we've been and where we are and where we are going. Well, we know where we've been. This year has been dark and confusing, full of upheaval and pain and vulnerability and sorrow, testing us in ways that we could never have foreseen. And we know where we are now, in a moment of great uncertainty, shaken and fragile, standing before the Almighty and asking to be sealed in the book of life. But while God will write our fate, let's remember that we have the power to write our own story. So this Rosh Hashanah, let's look forward and resolve to make this year filled with blessings and gratitude and joy. A year of family and friends and love and light. A year we reach out to those who have wandered off the path and lift up those who have fallen down. Let's make it a year of health and healing, of promise and purpose for our community, for our city, and for our world. And next Rosh Hashanah, let's hope and pray and work and plan so that we will be together once again, singing and dancing, rejoicing, dipping apples in honey, and hearing the sound of the shofar. I can't wait to be there with you. So from my family to yours, Shana Tova, have a great, happy, and sweet New Year.
We're so thankful to our mayor for offering us those words of blessing. And now the Cantor and I would like to offer these words for all of you. A blessing for the new year. Our God and God of all generations before us, may it be your will in the coming year to grant us a year of abundance and atonement.
A year of blessings bestowed and received.
A year of community and compassion.
A year of delight and exultation.
A year of enlightenment.
A year of friendship and forgiveness.
A year of going up in gladness to the land of Israel.
A year of health and healing and humor.
A year of inner strength and well-being.
A year of joy and Jewish celebration.
A year of knowledge and learning for its own sake.
A year of love between parents and children, friends and spouses, brothers and sisters.
A year of mitzvot and moments of sweetness.
A year of nature protected and enjoyed.
A year of optimism and hope.
A year of peace pursued with perseverance.
A year of quiet and tranquility.
A year of rain in its season.
A year of song and spiritual growth.
A year of Torah study and tikkun olam.
A year of understanding and unity.
A year of vows fulfilled and violence overcome.
A year of wisdom acquired and shared.
A year of coexistence among the families of the earth.
A year of young and old reaching out to one another.
A year of Zion aglow with light for us and all the world.
Our God and God of the generations before us, grant us a year of gratitude to you for the most profound of blessings, your gift of life. And tonight I want to extend gratitude to our greeters, Ray Murphy, Linda Rubin, Pam Tarlow, and Donnie Paquin. And for some of our announcements, such as the ones on the screen, I'm going to unmute Cheryl Holtzman, if I can get to her, so that she can say a few words.
Shana Tova. My name is Cheryl Holtzman, and I am very happy to be here tonight on behalf of the Board of Directors. It's still amazing to me to be able to say those words. I would like to wish every single one of you a very sweet and healthy new year. It's my pleasure to share with you our weekend schedule of services and programs for Rosh Hashanah. Our Rosh Hashanah morning service will begin at 10 a.m. in the morning tomorrow. And the service will include the sounds of the shofar and a sermon from Rabbi Cassi. And then tomorrow at 11:30, we will come together again for our Rosh Hashanah Torah service, which will include community honors. At 1:30, we look forward to having you join us for our Rosh Hashanah family service that is open to everyone of all ages. And finally, we will gather again tomorrow at 6 p.m. for our Rosh Hashanah Seder and social dinner. Our Rosh Hashanah Seder is a common Sephardic custom. After our 20-minute food-based program, you will be invited to go out into breakout rooms to enjoy a virtual dinner and pleasant conversation. And remember, you can only access the breakout rooms by using the Zoom platform. This is the only one that you can't come to on Facebook and YouTube. On Sunday, September 20th, please join us at 10 a.m. for our Kail Tashlik service. During this ritual, we ceremoniously cast away our sins and transgressions, represented by breadcrumbs, into flowing water. As most of us will be outside, please use the phone-in option to join us. Also on Sunday, from 10:30 a.m. till 1 p.m., please drive by Temple Bethel and participate in our High Holy Days collection drive. We are collecting food, pantry items, and hygiene products for our friends at Harbor Interfaith Services in San Pedro, a tremendous, tremendous program. Please drive through our parking lot and we will unload the items for you. And then also on Sunday, it is our great pleasure to be a part of the Shofar Wave event that is presented by the Jewish Federation with Kovar. A few shofar blowers will gather in front of our temple. So we welcome you to join us and listen to those beautiful resounding sounds of the shofar from the comfort and safety in your car. Shana Tova.
Shana Tova, thank you so much. And thank you all for being here. We aim to have the service be an hour, and I don't know how we did it, but it is an hour on the dot.
Wow.
So if this is a sign of this year, we hope that it is a sign of a really good year and with things going as planned for a change. So thank you so much for being here.